All right. Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you showing up for yourself. Super important. Hopefully, you learn a lot and you grow a lot, and you're able to see what is missing in your career development. So, we're going to get started in just a little bit. Going to wait until 6 o'clock to see and get started. And hopefully, by the end of our 1 hour session, you know what you need in order to succeed in your 6-figure career gap. All right. So, I am ready, waiting for you guys. So, we're going to give it a few more moments till 6 o'clock. If you are here, you have some questions, let me know. We'll start some questions early before we jump right into it. And just for some housekeeping rules, if you need to leave early, I will be posting the calendar in the chat so that you can go ahead and book your call ASAP. If you know you need to stop playing, you need to get ahead, you want to be like everyone else with their success stories, now is the time. So I'm going to put the link to my calendar in the chat. Please book accordingly so that you don't miss out on anything. I'm super excited to teach you guys things that have been working out for my students, building out strategies that allow you to actually get seen, not be invisible. So we're going to talk about all of those today. So any last minute questions before we get started, be sure to put them in the chat now so that I don't miss it. And like I said, I'm going to put the calendar in the chat now, just so you have it. All right. Welcome, everyone, whether you're on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or here on the webinar directly. Thank you so much for meeting me tonight and learning how to develop your skills going into 2026. And most importantly, using your skills to get the salary that you deserve. All right. So, like I mentioned, for anyone who's coming in, if for any reason you need to hop off earlier before 7 Eastern, here is the link to the calendar. Be sure to book accordingly so that you don't miss out on your opportunity to be a part of CBU's success plan here for you. So while we have people logging on, be sure to put in the comments where you are dialing in from. I am in Jersey on the lovely East Coast. So put in the chat where you are coming in from. I love to learn more about how expanded CBU has been over the last 3 years. Last week, we had some people from Ghana and the Netherlands here inside of the webinar. So are we just East Coast, West Coast? Are we all 3 time zones tonight? Super excited to learn and grow. Be sure to have your notifications on as well after, so that you can get any updates that we send to either via text or email. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So tonight we are going to talk about transitioning into tech to boost your paycheck. I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of you are here, because you feel very stuck or stagnant. So we're going to talk about that so that we can see how to take you from zero to hero. All right. So why are you here today? Put in the chat why you are here today. Is it because of salary? Is it because of lack of skill set? Is it because you're not sure how to pivot yourself? It's okay. There is no wrong answers, for sure. You may feel like your career has grown stagnant and you feel unfulfilled in your workplace. I know I definitely have felt like that. So put in the chat, tell me, why are you here? Are you lost in your skills? Are you trying to gain more salary? Are you trying to get into tech? What about CBU's webinar tonight has you on the cusp of learning? I love to learn more about people every time, because it's so important to know what your desires are. The goal with anything is to understand what you need out of your transition. Okay? It's so important. So don't be shy. Put in what you're looking for, what you're struggling with, so that we can make sure we hit as many points as possible. Okay? And if you see me moving around, it's because we are live on all 3 platforms. So we want to make sure that we're answering questions from all over. All right. Awesome. So, like I mentioned, it may be because you feel stagnant. It may be because you feel undervalued and overworked in your current role. You may feel lost, may feel like you deserve more money, right? The whole point is to see what about your career development is going to take you out of this space. Okay? So I know for myself, I always felt like I deserved more pay. I just didn't know how to do it. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with who we are. It just has to do with our strategy. And if you've guys been following me for a while, you understand that I talk about strategy transitions a lot, because it's super important. If you do not know your strategy, you will definitely be 100% lost. Okay? So let's talk about what that means. So you also may want more flexibility. You may want to feel like, hey, I'm tied to this desk. I'm working 9 to 5, but it feels like 9 to 8, 9 to 9. Sometimes you may have family. You may be just wanting time for yourself. You may want to increase your income so that you can do more things. I know for me, my number one priority was to be able to buy a home, be able to go outside more, enjoy life, right? The whole point of working is so that we're able to enjoy life. That is the number one thing. Okay? So, or you may feel like, hey, I want to transition into tech, but I don't know where to start. There's been plenty of people who felt the same way. So don't feel like you are the only one. You may feel like, hey, can my skills and experience translate well enough for me to land a job in tech as well? Answer 90% yes. Okay? So let's talk about it, right? For those who may not know who I am or why you're here, or someone may have referred you, I am Erica, also known as Coach Bay. And it's my job to help you get hired, okay? I am also the founder of Coach Bay University. Coach Bay University is a career boosting program. We have helped hundreds of people transition into tech, gain high salary, and more. And tonight I'm going to show you things and processes that have worked for my students time and time again so that you can become unstuck. You can find your reasoning, you can get the interviews that you've been struggling with, and more. All right. So I was a job seeker as well, as a lost job seeker at that. During 2015, when I first broke into the corporate world, I was 23 years old, just 10 years ago, right? So I started out in customer service, getting fussed out, getting yelled at because people's cable was out, right? I had no idea what that meant, who was responsible for that, but I had to just do my job, right? That's all I was good at, was just doing my job. So I started out in customer service. And then from there, during COVID, I was 5 years in taking calls, outbound, inbound, whatever you could think of, I did it, right? I even went in office during COVID just to get more salary, right? Because that was an amazing time to make money. If you did not make money during COVID, I tell you, you definitely missed out on a wave for sure, okay? So during COVID, I earned about $25 an hour, no commissions. It was just office work. And then from there, I was like, I cannot do phones anymore. If you've ever worked on phones, and if you're still working on phones, okay, I commend you 100% because phones are the worst, okay? Phones are the worst, especially when you have to deal with irate people. So I finally made my transition off of phones in 2022 as an account receivable. And that was with NFI Logistics. And then from there, I did more logistics coordinator. And then eventually I pivot to where I am with LM as a current team lead. This transition was not easy, but I will tell you, I learned a lot. And all of this had to do with transitional skills and transferable skills, okay? So the goal is to take you from where you are to where you want to be, okay? So since 2020, I was able to increase my salary by 150%, okay? And I'm so proud of myself. I still have a long way to go. Now that I know that I can do it, you know, I'm one of those people that's going to be persistent and keep going until I can't go anymore. So with this new life, I'm able to be there for my kids, go to practices, was able to buy my home, and take more vacation. And I'm not even an airplane person, okay? So just to go show you, I may not go out the country all the time, but this still allows me to transition and hang out and enjoy life without thinking about it, okay? So if this is on your bucket list, you are definitely in the right place, okay? So what we're gonna go over tonight is what exists for you in tech, how to get you in the door, and how to boost your paycheck, okay? So if that sounds like a plan, that's something that you're excited and you are ready to learn and grow about, put yes in the chat, okay? Put yes in the chat and let's get going because it's going to be super impactful for you to learn and know what it is you want for yourself, okay? So put yes in the chat and let's start this session. Awesome, awesome. Yes, you guys are ready. Awesome. I love to see it. I love to see it. Yep, you're not getting any callbacks. You feel like your resume and your portfolio are not good enough. Yep, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. We're going to cover a good amount of that so that you can experience greatness for yourself, right? A lot of hard work. And sometimes, and it's not to say you guys haven't put in the work, it's almost so hard to put in the work of what you don't know is missing, right? So the goal is to cover as much as possible during our session. Okay, so what is tech actually? Tech is designed to be as automated and as streamlined as possible for consumers and businesses. Okay, so if you're a problem solver, if you're someone who's excited to learn and excited to piece things together, then it's definitely going to be an industry for you. And what I teach my students all the time is that you always want to be expendable, right? You never want to have so much skill that you're no longer useful in the space. All right. So if you don't know what you want to do in tech, I highly suggest doing research first before making your transition. So that way you're cutting out a lot of time. Okay. So what exists for you in tech? Put in some job descriptions or job titles, rather, that you are interested when transitioning into tech, or if you currently work in tech. What is it that you do now for work? And don't be shy, guys. Don't be shy. Put it in the chat what you guys currently do for work. Are you a procurement analyst like myself? Do you work in project management? Are you a customer success manager? Do you work in fintech? Do you work in ed tech or health tech? Do you have a computer science degree, cybersecurity? Are you a SOC analyst? Awesome. Awesome. Scrum master. Wow. Operations manager. Awesome. Procurement specialist, logistics specialist. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, computer science teacher. Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. So, as you guys know, job levels are very different. Depending on what you do, job levels can look completely different. There's been times where you may apply to a job and it may be more than what you do now, but the pay is not, right? So I try not to get too hemmed up on titles because the description, that JD, is what matters when it comes to transitioning and leveling up in your career, right? Which means that opportunities are infinite. Okay. So the goal with anything is to always have something going for you in the background, right? For me, Excel and SAP, we go hand in hand. Is us against the world, right? No matter where I am, I'm going to be prioritizing Excel and SAP in order for me to advance my career. That is what gives me my salary, right? When I mention skills equal salary, that is exactly what I mean. So put in the chat some skills that you want to start equating for your salary. You know, is it Linux for my cybersecurity people at ERC? You know, is it Linux? Is it Python? Is it pivot tables? Is it budgeting? Is it Excel? Right? What is going to give you the money that you are looking for? Because that is going to close a lot of gaps that you guys may be having right now. So put in the chat some skills that either you're interested in or that you currently use that's going to help your transition. Once I was able to learn Excel and learn SAP, I taught myself for 67 days straight. That gave me an immediate 20K increase. Lie to you not. No degree, no cert. You guys know, as bad as I wanted to go to school, it just did not work out for me. Right? We have Excel, Python, SQL, SAP. That alone as a package, right? You should be selling that. Supply chain and procurement. See? Exactly. That is your compensation package right there. Your skill set. And that is what's going to make the opportunities truly endless for you. Okay? So, when I mentioned job titles are unique, there are plenty of job titles in the world, but what is actually going to matter when it comes to the job titles, right? You could be I am a procurement analyst senior. I'll be transitioning into a senior level role 2026, but my job description may not be senior level for another company, right? And this is why you do not want to go ahead and follow behind titles, because that is what is going to keep you stagnant. So here are just some examples. We have customer specialist, we have sales concierge, program associate, onboard specialist. I was an onboard specialist for Google, actually. I loved it, but I also did talent sourcing. I also did people and culture specialing as well. I worked for the EMEA region, so I was responsible for onboarding all the new people and new hires that came to Google in 2023. So whatever the title is, if the job description does not allow you to elevate, you may still be in that same box, okay? And that is what we want to prevent, okay? So, like I said, I'll do another break here. For anyone who had just came in, I have put my calendar in the chat. If you are not able to stay for the full session, totally understand. Here is the calendar so that you can go ahead and book your call. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. So, what does that mean? That means job levels are very different. Right now, to know truly if you are, especially entry to mid-level, will determine, and this is about average, right? Because there's a lot of companies who will pay you decent, but you're not able to scale that title, right? You never led a team, you've never been in charge of projects, you never built on the deck. There's so many rules around, if you're truly mid or senior, right? But this just gives you an idea of where you fall into that bracket, right? Between that 50 to 75, you're probably still entry level junior, right? You're good at what you do. You never, you're not in charge of anyone. You may have trained a new hire here or there, right? You just do your 8 and skate. But then we have mid-level and we have senior level who are more under that manager, rep, executive, strategist, those kind of endings when it comes to job titles, where you're around that 70 to 120K. And then you have your leadership, right? But by the time you get to leadership, you're pretty much doing the same thing, just in different realms, right? So, and if you're in leadership now and you're still kind of lost and you really don't know where and what and how you're doing, then we definitely need to talk, okay? So when we talk about the opportunity being infinite, this just goes to show you, no matter what, the job market, people saying they're getting laid off every day, we're not denying that, right? But at the end of the day, how many people are in the world, right? How many people are in the world? How many opportunities are there, right? So far, since 2024, there's still 4.6 million jobs available, whether on-site, hybrid, remote, part-time, full-time, overnight, whatever, right? There's still so many opportunities out there. So in tech alone, there's over 550,000 roles, okay? I actually made a video on TikTok about this about 3 weeks ago of showing you guys that the remote opportunities on LinkedIn come through all the time, right? So it's super important to not stay stagnant and just only keep applying for the same roles as everybody else, right? Because if I'm applying for procurement, you're applying for procurement, you're applying for procurement, right? That's 3 people against 1 job. So you got to start thinking outside the box and start using your skills to speak for your transition, okay? Start thinking outside the box. And I understand it can be time consuming, frustrating, all of that. I get it 100%. But the goal is to find those opportunities for yourself. And once you're in, you want to be able to close that knowledge gap, right? As you see here, From 2022 to 2024, I did a lot, right? Yes, I job hop because you know what? I did not want to be stagnant. I am not ashamed to job hop. I will job hop so that people can see that is a real opportunity for you to do. Okay. It's the only way you're going to get money. That's the only way you're going to get advanced. It's the only way you're going to be able to take your career seriously. Me personally, right? But from 2022 to 2024, I was able to not only have two amazing opportunities to be an individual contributor, now I was able to self teach myself about SAP, Oracle, Excel, everything that I needed in order to transition, and not just think minimal as a logistics coordinator, right? Logistics coordinator is what kind of helped me in my transition, but I could have just stayed. There's plenty of people I know that still work there that still are doing the same job that we all got hired to do, right? As a LC, just learning and being in that same position, right? But for me, I wanted more. I wanted to be able to challenge myself, okay? So you challenge yourself, you use your skill sets to help get you there, all right? So we'll talk about that a little bit. So that just basically means when you are comfortable in a job and you stay there, learn as much as you can before you transition, because you should be able to leave with something. Okay. So what I want you to do is to go to LinkedIn. I want you to find your favorite tech company. And from there, you're going to click on employees and you're going to write down job titles that actually make sense for you. Okay. And you see this example here. Want to use that as an example for yourself. This just gives you other opportunities, people to review, other people to find in order to transition and reach out, right? Everything is not, unfortunately, going to be black and white and right in your face here for you to do. But as long as you have those opportunities to showcase for yourself, definitely everything else will line up perfectly. Okay. This is how I was able to connect with a lot of recruiters, even building my network that I have today. Okay. So getting your foot in the door is not hard, but it is hard when you don't have the proper strategy, right? How can you change something that you don't know is broken? So what does that mean, right? We all know connect on LinkedIn, do this on LinkedIn, right? But how exactly? One is to build relationships in referrals. I have so many job referrals, but at the same time, if they don't benefit either myself or my private students, then it's just another person that I know on LinkedIn, right? But those opportunities come and they go and they come and they go. But I've also built a personal brand for myself by creating my own experience, right? As a job seeker, as someone in tech, as someone in GovTech, as someone that teaches about how to transition into GovTech, it is very important that now I've created my own space on LinkedIn. So when I reach out to a recruiter, they can validate that, one, if I'm reaching out for someone else, that I'm 100% betting for this person, right? I'm not going to bet for someone on LinkedIn who just DM me, say, hey, do you have a referral for this random company that I don't know? There's 100 million people on LinkedIn. No, right? But as my student, I'm allowed to say, hey, I have this amazing student I've been working with for the past 30 days. We've been able to accomplish this, this, and this. This is how I see them being able to be a contribution to your company. That is creating your own experience, okay? And from there, all you have to do is now reword your responsibilities, right? What does that look like for you? Start creating high value bullet points on your resume, okay? On your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn and your resume should mirror each other a lot, okay? So here's just some examples, right? We talk a lot about relationships and referrals, but what does that actually mean, okay? For me, that means recruiters. That means past students. That means random people on LinkedIn will reach out to me, right? Either for myself or to validate for someone else. We have Patrick. He's an amazing recruiter at SAP. he wanted me to come work at SAP with him. And SAP, for me, the closest one is about an hour and 15 minutes in PA. But he was so strong and sure that I would be able to be a positive contribution to that amazing company. But I could just not commit to the commute, right? But that's because I built a personal brand and importance of who I am and what I do on LinkedIn, so that you see this is an inbound message, right? Now we're locked in. So any other opportunities, if for any reason I wanted to see what SAP was offering, I now have that opportunity, right? So same thing here. A past student from 3 years ago, I have not talked to her in so long. She actually, this was probably about 2 years ago, she gave me a referral when I was laid off from Google, right? Because why? I built a personal brand for myself. I built trust and value for myself on LinkedIn, and she sent me a referral for her job. Most recently, another person, I've never worked with this person, never had communications for them. Literally, last week before last, asked me, do I want a referral for Northrop Grumman? And if you remember, I made a post saying, tag your favorite company or company of your dreams, right? I tagged Northrop Grumman as being one of my dream companies. And they asked me if I wanted a referral and in exchange for him to look at my resume. Fair enough, right? Fair exchange. There's no loss in that. That's how you build relationships. That's how you build referrals, even as a job seeker. And this is why recruiters won't feel burnt out and used and abused, because they have the people there that's not just saying, hey, can I send you my resume, right? You built rapport for yourself. And once you create your own space, you show up on your resume, you show up on LinkedIn, and you are proud of who you are, right? Start building out your projects. Allow your projects and their experience to speak for yourselves, okay? Any questions so far? Please, if you have any questions, let me know. Put it in the chat right now if you have any questions. Awesome, Bernard. Awesome. I'm glad that your Excel and Power BI experience is working for you. That's amazing, because that means it goes to show that you're not just learning these skills for no reason, right? The whole point is to scale. No one wants to stay stagnant. Does anyone have any questions for me right now? Drop your questions in the chat. Don't be shy, okay? I really want to make sure I'm hitting as many key points for you guys as possible. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Awesome. So this is how we reword our experiences, right? We start with what they're talking about in the job descriptions, and we quantify that in our qualifications, right? If we know we have a degree, we know we have a cert, that's number one on our resume, right? Include your job description, and that way when you start applying for the same roles over and over again, that's where you're going to definitely be able to skyrocket. This month, I know we're in the last day of September. Since September, I want to say 7th, I believe that was the first Monday. Let me just check the calendar so I have a more accurate date for you guys. So here, you guys kind of see my calendar, right? Booked up. That each day I had some type of phone screening or interview since the 7th was a Sunday. Sorry, since the 3rd of September. Okay. I met with Base Systems. I also met with L3Harris. I also met with Accenture. A recruiter from Accenture reached out to me as well. And I don't mind interviewing back to back. Here's another one here for a Teams invite for a procurement specialist. Okay. And this was back on the 16th. Okay. Just goes to show you that opportunities truly are endless. Once you reword your experience, you highlight your value, that is going to take you from being ghosted, not knowing what your salary is going to be, to now being able to showcase who you are and what you want to do. Okay? So let's go on to our next part, is getting in the door. Okay? And you get the most out of open doors. People facing roles, you find your club, you find your sector, you find who you are within it. And then you also can work operational roles, right? There was a point where I just did not want to interact. I am such an introvert, right? I am such an introvert. I did not want to talk to anybody, but that also got me nowhere. So, question, does becoming visible on LinkedIn require constant content creation? That is a great question. And the answer is no, right? I actually have, I had a student who we got her hired, but she was like myself, key to this point, the story I was about to talk about, right? For myself, I am an introvert even outside of being Coach Bay, right? I'm a very quiet, chill, relaxed person, right? But at the same time, it's important to know that in order for me to be an introvert, I still have to be an extrovert. So that meant, if I'm a job seeker, what does that mean for other people who are not like me? So, for example, my student Kelly, she came to me, she did not post on LinkedIn. She was very like, hey, I just job seek and then I log off, right? She may even log on 2 times a week. And I was like, I log on like 2 times a day. So she's like, well, what do I do? So we made her an incognito post where all she did was post about her experience and her education and her practices of what she does, right? So that means all she's doing is highlighting each week. We gave her a 30-day content script. So that way she only posted about, hey, during my time at this company, which she was at the same company for 10 years, but we broke it down by each position that she held, right? So that way she did not have to become a content creator, and she was not promoting or she was not advertising that she was open to work, but she was still able to have more people in her sector reach out to her, engage with her, build value with her in order to get ahead, right? So that's what you mean when, you find your intersection and then you become operational within it. Okay. So when you break in, you try to stay in. We're not going to count Google because that was a layoff, but it's fine. Once you're in, you try to be in unless you absolutely hate it. Okay. Because that opportunity that you're in, whether for a couple of months, for a year or two, right? You want to maximize on that as much as possible. Even me staying at my company with Google for those 6 months still gave me the value that I needed, right? Once I was in, that was it, right? Now I'm a part of that big name tech community, right? It took me some time, but now I'm able to see what I need in order for me to stay in that space, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Awesome. Glad I was able to answer your question. So, making the right move. You move diagonally, you move upwards, or you move laterally, okay? You never move backwards. You stay at your job until you find something more. Even if it's 10K more salary, right? If you're remote and the next position is going to be remote, still ask for another 10K at minimum. Even if you feel like it's doing the same thing, that way you're not wasting your time. You're not sitting there feeling like, oh, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, right? The point is to move to another opportunity constantly as much. And it's not always about money. It can be about scheduling. It can be about freedom, flexibility, whatever. Okay. So here's some more action items for you. Find three people are people facing roles, right? You find the tech companies the same way I showed you that intersect with your current experience, and you find one book, audiobook, a YouTube video like myself with Excel, Power BI, whatever to self-teach you to boost your knowledge. Okay. That is going to be number one key item for you. That will allow you to not stay stagnant where you are, because you should constantly be learning every single day. Okay? Every single day. No excuse. Okay? So let's talk about boosting your paycheck. Okay? Because we all want to get to the bag. Okay? If you want to get to the bag, put your favorite money sign in the chat right now. Okay? Put your favorite money sign in the chat right now so we can talk about getting to the bag. Okay? Put it in the chat. Credit card, money bag, dollars, put it in the chat right now. Okay? Let's talk about it. Because this here is going to be the number one that's going to close a lot of gaps for you guys. Okay? This right here. Yes. Come on. We have a small class tonight, but it's okay. I want to see 20 money emojis in the chat right now. Exactly. And Christian works in accounting. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. See? There we go. All right. So, how to boost your paycheck? Understand these 3 tactics. Your total comp, insider information, and then you get to negotiate like a professional. Okay? Has anyone here been able to negotiate their salary? Have you ever had an opportunity to negotiate your salary, whether it's 5K, 20K, or even more? Were you ever able to, instead of just taking the salary that they gave you, come back with a new compensation offer where they said, hey, you're able to make 85K on a hybrid schedule. You can start October 1st. You said, nope, I want to push it out another week. I want to actually make 90K because of my commute. Or maybe you don't even give them a reason. You say, just based on my skill set, I feel like I'm comfortable with more 90K. Awesome. Awesome. Now, did it go in your favor? That's super important as well. Did your salary negotiation go in your favor? Hopefully it did. Awesome. See, there he is. I see those money signs. I see those money signs. Thank you. Did your salary negotiation go the way that you expected it? Did they give you more? Did they say no? Did they give you exactly what you asked for? How did that work out for you? Hopefully that lined up so that you were able to see the growth that you needed. Awesome. Awesome. So for me, negotiating my salary, my total comp is super important, right? I rather negotiate my total comp than just to worry about my hourly rate. See? So let's talk about it a little bit here. Understand your total comp, right? You have your base, you have stocks, you have bonuses, sign-on bonus, you have commission. If you have a base plus a commission rate, you have matching, 401k, so much, right? So a lot of people are just stuck on the first part, right? Your base, right? That's cool and all, but bonuses, annual bonuses, sign-on bonuses. I got my first sign-on bonus this year. I tell you, it was lovely after that 90 days, especially when you forget about it. Oh, that's the best. That's truly the best right there. So what you want to do is focus on everything, your total package. And a lot of companies will tell you too, when you're negotiating your salary, they don't go just based off of hourly, right? Or base. They think of you as a total package. And that's how you kind of know when people just throwing numbers out there and they're not totally thinking about it long term, right? Because as a six-figure earner, you're going to care about the total comp. You're not, the base is like cool because that part is getting taxed anyway, right? But your sign-on bonus, your flexibility, you know, if you get your equipment sent to you, right? If you get a MacBook, if you get a phone, whatever, right? If they're going to match up to like 7% for your 401k, that's how you know you made it, right? So you want to negotiate like a professional, okay? You always negotiate over the phone. You use your tone of voice, monotone, very stern, very strict. You use all the information that's given to you, the job description, your experience, the resume, everything, right? And you piece it all together. So that way, when you start interviewing and getting to the final round, you will have multiple offers to choose from, okay? You never want to take a pay cut, ever. That's why I said, even going from remote to remote, definitely from on-site to remote to hybrid, whatever, however you want to shake it, right? You never go backwards. You never stay where you are. You always ask more, okay? And this is just some examples of how to negotiate, right? Like that professional. You never do it over the phone. On text, you always do it over the phone. See? Exactly. Okay, so some more action items for you. You research the salaries of 3 roles. You can use Google Job Search. You can use Glassdoor, Blind, Peso, whatever, right? And you write down your acceptable salary ranges as you pivot, right? What makes sense to you as the full compensation? That is very important. Really think about it, right? Look at the competition, look at what you bring to the table so that you're able to see what makes sense for you. Okay, so let's recap what we learned today as we wrap up. Okay, to recap, you want to find what exists for you in the tech space. What does that mean for you, right? Where can procurement, where can computer science, where can SOC analysts take you in the tech industry, right? And get your foot in the door. Volunteer if you can, do more projects, okay, on Medium. And then when you start getting your interviews, you ask for what you deserve, because at that point, you're going to only be applying to the companies that's going to give you exactly what you need, okay? That is the point, is to ask for what you deserve. This is what's going to get you that 6-figure bag, okay? Nothing else, okay? So if you feel like this class has been great and you know exactly how to transition now, give me a thumbs up in the chat, please. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you're still here, you're still learning, you're still growing, give me a thumbs up in the chat, okay? Because I want to make sure I've hit as many key points for you guys as possible. I want to see 20 thumbs on here. I want to see 30 thumbs on here. Awesome. 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 I love to see it. Okay. So if you feel like, hey, this has been a great class, but I need help transitioning. I know what I want to do, but I need help transitioning. You're not the only one, right? The goal is to tell you, show you the foundations, but at the end of the day, you're not an expert, and that's okay, okay? So I am offering 6 weeks to help you transition into tech inside of my cohort, okay? This will allow you to be fulfilled, paid, and valued, okay? Because right now you're under fulfilled, right? You're underpaid and you're undervalued. The minimum requirement is to have at least 2 years of experience to work with, okay? Because if you have no experience, that only makes it harder, okay? So as you see, my students, including myself, have had opportunities to transition into Google, Coinbase, Accenture, American Express, Visa, Deloitte, So many amazing companies, Navy Federal in the fintech space, and the opportunities truly, truly are endless. Okay. So here are just some transitional students who was able to come in and kill it in that 6-figure bag. Okay. The goal is to never stay stagnant where you are. And a lot of people, honestly, truly, this is like a new thing. Well, not really new, but it's come up a lot in my consultations with people, is that they feel like ageism has truly taken over. And a lot of my students are at least 35 plus, right? So they feel like I should have been already at my job for the last 10 to 12 years. You know, what have I been doing? It's too late for me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. Because opportunities are truly endless. You got to think about everybody can't be the 21-year-old intern, right? And everybody's not meant to be Bob, who's been working in accounting since the beginning of time, right? So you got to find your sweet spot and be proud of it. Okay. I plan to work in logistics as long as I possibly can. I love it. I love procurement. I love supply chain. I love all of it. I love solving problems, being able to grow, build a team, contract specialing, all of that, right? And so was as everybody else. So start getting the help that you need. If you're here, you're probably because you're fed up with yourself and you're like, what the hell am I doing? I'm not getting anywhere. I don't know what I'm doing. I've done everything I think that I possibly could. Okay. So the main goal is to relationship build, practice your mock interviews so that you can start getting introduced to recruiters and such. Okay. LinkedIn is not dead. So within our 6-week course, you have access to my private community here with my students. You'll also have a step-by-step curriculum inside how to master your skills to land your next career opportunity. And we do live weekly calls, okay? This is like no other because the main goal is to get you to stick out from the crowd, okay? A lot of times people are applying for the same roles as everybody else, okay? It's super important to know there's a million opportunities out there, right? What makes you different, okay? What makes Ashley different? What makes Jonathan different, okay? I had to learn it. It took me 10 years to get here that I now show people how to do it in 6 to 12 months, okay? So the foundations are there for you to learn and grow about yourself. You just have to put in a little bit of the work, and that's okay. That's what we're here to do, okay? So what we'll do is if you want to go ahead and see what that looks like for you, let's go ahead and see. We cover live mock interviews, access to any mentors that I have available. You'll have access to my private Kajabi community, any job referrals. I have tons of information and resources for you as far as salary negotiation, how to build relationships properly, and give you access to meet with me 1 day a week for the next 6 weeks. Okay. So this opportunity, like I said, is just accessible for you guys that are here right now. So do not wait any longer for this opportunity. This is 6 weeks of impact. Okay. And just to review, here are just some testimonials alone, just based on resumes. I had to niche it down because on LinkedIn, I have so many recommendations. On Instagram, I have recommendations, TikTok, so many places in my email. And I just niched it down from resumes alone because a lot of people just feel like, oh, I'm nothing without my resume, which is not true. Okay. You are everything and more. Your resume is just your written formal foundation. Okay. So this just goes to show you here what those resumes can bring to the table for you. Okay. So you may feel like, hey, will this work for me? The question is, will you work for it? Okay. Will you work for it? Will you put in the work over these next 6 weeks? So what I want you to do is go ahead and book your call with me here. Okay. I put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat one more time for you here so that you can go ahead and get unstuck. That is the goal, okay? That is the true goal. Will this work for you? Is the opportunity of will you put in the work, okay? This investment is exactly what it is. It's 100% worth it. You're never going to stay stagnant where you are, okay? Staying versus pivoting over next 10 years, you see here, it's going to take you 10 years. It took me 10 years alone to get to where I want to be, right? So now I'm cutting time more than in half in order to help others get there, okay? So don't wait. Don't feel like tomorrow. A lot of you, I've been seeing you have your open to work banner since the beginning of the year, since the beginning of the summer. And it's no shade, it's not to be rude, but it's realistic, right? If you realize, I give everyone about 90 days. If you're not able to make a change in 90 days, that means something truly is wrong, right? You can't beat a dead horse, right? At the end of the day, that's just brutally honest, is to understand if I have not made a change for myself in these last 90 days, the next 90 days is going to be the same thing. I'm going to get the same result. How can I change something that I clearly don't know how to change, right? And that's just the point that we're trying to make here, is that everything doesn't require additional work. Sometimes it just means to fix a little bit what is broken. Okay, so be sure to book your call. Let's talk about how we can make this work for you over these next 6 weeks. Okay, so I'm going to dedicate, and this is outside of the CBU program, because CBU is that 90-day round. Okay, this is just a webinar only access offer. Okay, so at the end of tonight, this offer will no longer be valid. So if you know that you need the help, that's why this invite was only sent out to a little bit of people. If you know that you need the help and you're ready to get the help and just say, hey, there's no need trying to be where I currently am, click the link, you'll submit your application, and then if we're a great team to work together, we will go ahead and set that up. So these first two options are free. You'll click the link in the bio, you'll submit your application once you click the link, and then we will talk on Zoom so that we can learn everything about you, to learn what is holding you back, okay? Awesome. Any questions for me right now? Any questions? Anything that you feel like you want to cover? It was so good hearing from you guys, having you here, a part of tonight's session, okay? Because the goal is to learn who you are. So what I'm going to do here, for those who have messaged me that you have to log off, here is the type form that I want you to go ahead and fill out. Here is the application for CBU. If everything pans out, it will give you access to the calendar, okay? So I'm going to send that to you right now. All right, here is the application, so that you can fill this out. Be sure to fill it out tonight. I cannot stress that enough, because we still take calls every day for our actual cohort. This is a webinar only access invite for the next 6 weeks to work directly with me, okay? So be sure to get the link, fill out the application tonight. I will be sending out a follow-up email as well, just in case you may be on your phone or iPad and you can't fill it out right now. But when I email it to you, make sure that you open it, check your spam folder, okay? Check your spam folder, check your text message, because I will be sending it out as well tonight. But in the meantime, are there any other questions? Anything I may be missing for you? Any questions while you have me right now?